5 years I've been coming to Paramount every Wednesday, and I think I haven't missed a breakfast yet, huh, Peggy? So anyway, I'm really glad to be here. So today we're talking about one of those subjects which I think last time we talked about customer service. It's one of those subjects that we all know something about, networking. We all know something about it, but we just can't get too much of it, right? Because it's always relevant, and we always need to be paying attention to it and upping our game. So, technical, there it is. It works. All right, so today we're talking about networking and what is networking. And I want to kind of get you to think about it a little differently maybe in some aspects. So what is networking? Obviously, everybody here today knows something about networking or they wouldn't be showing up to this meeting, right? So it's about making connections, about building relationships, and the more I think about this, and it's really important, you know, I think to think about it this way, it's building relationships over time, right? So I've been coming here for 5 years, and Joe, Harold's garage, has been sitting back there almost every breakfast, right? So we didn't build a relationship, you know, the first time. It took several meetings, and I've even taken my truck to his place to get fixed, right? So it's about building relationships over time. That's what networking is. Think about this one. We all think about, yeah, we're going to build our future. Let's build our financial capital. Let's build some money, right? Well, what about your social capital? And really, what is your social capital worth? So what are we talking about, social capital? That's all your contacts. And you probably all known somebody that's been down and out, maybe a successful businessman, maybe a politician, whoever, down and out and lost everything, and 1 or 2 years are back on their feet again. In fact, there's been a lot of entrepreneurs that you know, including Henry Ford. His first 2 companies failed. Oprah, she got fired from her radio show once. On and on. Even our Donald Trump is not in the news too much, but he had several hotels go bankrupt, and he had all kind of problems in the 90s, right? We're not talking about that too much these days. But, so how did they get back on their feet so quick? Does this work? Okay. How did they get back on their feet so quick? It just, of course, has something to do with their tenacity, their skill set, and all those kind of things. But I think it had a lot to do also with their contacts, with their network, their social network. And if you had to put a value on your social network, or what all your contacts are worth versus what all your money is worth, what do you think might be more important? Your social network. So, and just like you can build a business and you can build all of your, well, just like you can build your financial capital and you do a lot of planning for your job and your career, you can also do some planning for building your social network. Okay, so what are some of the reasons that we network? And of course, the thing that comes to most people's minds right away is I want more business, I want more clients, and that's maybe you've got these great booths here. So it's a little bit about getting clients. It might be some of the cities here, the Paramount Chambers here. It might be a little bit about improving your standing in the community. Let's get known a little bit with all the community leaders. Don't forget though, as a leader, I want to always improve my skills. I have a lot of personal reasons I want to improve my skills, so let's maybe have a plan for networking to improve your expertise. And because more contacts, better business, more profit, but also more fulfillment as you kind of work on growing in your different personal fields. So here's some of the people we can network with. Of course, we have our customers, partners. So a partner might be, well, I like the referral partners. Those would be somebody that might refer you, like the chamber is a good referral partner. And your investors, mentors, everybody should have at least 1 or 2 mentors that are farther along in their career and maybe more successful than you. Somebody you can sit down and have coffee with, or a beer, whatever it might be, and kind of exchange notes and learn from. So it's very important to get your base of mentors. community industry experts. We all have to be the best at what we do in several areas, and one is our career and our expertise. We better be attending those trade shows and those things that build our expertise. And personal growth coaches. Tony Robbins, you ever go on that guy? Wow, that guy will wow you, right? And so we all need to grow in all these ways probably to be the best at what we do. So where do we network? Well, one of the best ways for businesses to really get to know their community is the Chamber of Commerce. And don't we all know somebody, when you think about really getting something done, if you have some project you're working on, something new, and you go, I need this certain person that's going to help me out with that. I need a printer, I need a web designer, I need a good insurance or a good bank or whatever. Who do you call? Well, in this case, you call Peggy, or Barbara, right? Because don't we all know somebody that's always very connected, that's a very good networker, and that's who we call on. So what does it take to get that skill? Well, in Peggy's case, she's kind of paid for it, But believe me, some chambers do a lot better than others, and she does a great job. So a Chamber of Commerce is a great way for businesses. Trade associations, boy. At a trade association, you have everything. You have your customers, you have your competitors, you have your vendors. Everybody's there. So it's a great way to not only get customers, but also learn about your industry. Trade shows and conferences, same thing. Okay. Networking events. There are specific networking events. We've all heard of groups like BNI. These networking groups that are kind of put together. Those are kind of like the specific for networking, and then there's other things that you just go to and network. Referral partners. So I have a client who's incredible with credit repair. So so who does he hang around with for credit repair? Now he could come to the chamber, and he has come to the chamber, and once in a while he gets a reference, but all you guys are doing so well, you might not be in credit repair, I don't know. But I've been there. So where does he hang out most of the time? Where does he go network? Well, he's found that 85% of his clients come referred from real estate agents. Because when you want to buy a house, you need your credit repaired. And that agent is highly motivated to get his, the agent's highly motivated to get the client qualified so that they can get that $4,000 or $5,000 check in their pocket, right? So he does 85% of his networking with real estate. So he'll go and he'll give presentations to them. He'll hang out at real estate conferences. He has a real estate YouTube and video channel, etc., etc. So, and then of course we can't forget our social media, because we're, just as we're networking here physically, and I think that there's still, we can't forget, this meeting someone and looking at them in the eye, pretty important. But now we have so much advantage with our social media as well. And LinkedIn, of course, would be something where it's other professionals you can link up with right away. Good way to find mentors, too, is on LinkedIn. But I think we need a plan. So if you think about it, all of our time is very valuable. So we don't want to just rush out there and just say, well, just any event is fine, No, our time is limited. And if we go to an event that's not effective for us, we might be blocking something that's really effective for us. So we need to have some strategy. And you can have that strategy not just for finding more clients, but you can have that for finding more industry expertise or more leadership or whatever you want. So kind of put together a plan. That's something we help do in our center. We help a lot with business planning and marketing planning, and we can do an actual network plan. So, or you might say, well, I don't have a mentor. This happens all the time. Well, everybody needs a mentor. You're starting out. You've got to figure out what's state of the art for your industry. Go find a mentor. And so, okay, my goal is to find one mentor in the next 3 months, and the second mentor in the next 6 months. And so in order to do that, what do I got to do? And we can kind of set out a strategy for that. And you can even put like how many events. Anybody have that kind of goal? So many events a month? So many people a month? So many calls a day? Or so many calls a week? Those are the kind of thing that in the end kind of gets us to where we want. Anybody made New Year's resolutions? Yep. It come to about end of January, February. What percentage of those resolutions are kept, you think? want to lose weight. I want to get some muscles. I can do it. But no. So, it's like, why doesn't it happen more often, right? Because we don't put, we have the big goal, but we don't put down the little steps. And we can almost put that big goal on the shelf and just focus on the steps. So I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week. Have I done it? So if we just focus on that 20 minutes at the gym, that'll probably get you more to where you're going. So break down your goals into steps. So you want to get customers, figure out where they hang out, and go maybe do so many events per month. Industry, you're going to go to those shows so many per month. So many social, go on LinkedIn so many times, get so many X number of contacts. So you can really do this. You can do it scientifically. And it probably means you have to dedicate a certain amount of time to networking. Just as if we're going to be successful at marketing, you better block off some time every week for marketing, or it just might not happen, right? Or it's just going to happen haphazardly. But if you just say, no, I'm going to network 4 hours every week, just might happen, right? But put it on your schedule. All right, so we're about events, and these are things you're going to keep learning forever. But let's kind of cover it here. We are at an event today. So I heard one guru, and he says, before I even walk in the door, I stand in the door and I look around at what's going on in there. And if I think that event's not for me, I go home. Because if the event is not, so whenever you plan to go to each event, that event either has to be an event you can get more contacts with customers, or personal growth, or industry, or whatever you're kind of looking for. And just make sure that you're not just socializing to have fun. There might be a time for that, and that might be another time, but in your plan, make sure that that's focused. And you can even go around the room and you can kind of see, you can kind of wire the room before you even get into it. And I kind of encourage you to kind of Google some things and buy a book on networking, and keep working on it. Circulate, don't stay too long with one person. We always have that person we feel comfortable with, and so we gravitate over to them. And then, anybody here, some people say, well, I'm just not really good with people. I'm kind of shy. I did a test once, sales test a couple years ago, and I found out that I was an introvert. I go, what? Well, I thought I was pretty social, and I go, I mingle pretty well with people. But what's an introvert? Well, if you have a really bad day, what's the difference between an introvert and an? If you have a really bad day, what does an introvert do? They go be alone, or hang out in their man cave, or hang out, watch TV or something. If you're an extrovert, what do? An extrovert? Party, go out and go be with the people. So, but everybody's kind of a mix of somewhere in between those two, and so there's no shame. Sometimes introverts are people that are a little bit shyer, actually, because they're just jumping into every conversation. They're observing more, they're taking more in, and sometimes a little smarter about and a little more cautious about what you do. If you're an introvert, if you really want to get involved and mingle more, and you say, well, I'm kind of shy, well, get on the steering committee, get on the committee, and then you'll have a job to do. Most of us, even if we're shy, we love to talk about what we do. So if you can kind of be in a position of responsibility, then you'll have always a reason to go and talk to someone. So there's ways to work with it. You don't always have to be the social butterfly. Here's another really important one. Don't pitch too soon. So, you ever been, I know it's none of you do this, right? But have you ever been to a meeting, it's like, hi, I'm Charlie, the Small Business Development Center. We've got this class, you're going to come, I'm going to call you every day and make sure you come. Like dragging you out on a hook, and they're saying, I don't know you, who are you, So be careful when you're in a meeting not to pitch too soon. So that means, because in marketing we kind of have a rule. In order to get a new customer or client, how many contacts does it take? Or I love this in social media. How many touches does it take to get a customer? How many times do you have to have contact with someone before they'll buy from you? 7. Yes, 5, 6 to 8. Somebody in real estate said 28. I don't know. You been in real estate yet? I don't know. Is it 28? Yeah. So anyway, there's So don't think that the networking event like this, that you're necessarily going to get a client right away. Sometimes we're lucky and it clicks and it just happens. But relationships are built over time. Think about your friends. Think about your romantic relationships, your spouses, whatever. How long did it take? And how much did you have to go through to build that relationship? Well, I'm not saying that every client you have to have or every relationship you have is going to have to be this long-term meaningful thing. But if you think about it, what you're trying to do is form relationships. People need to trust you, number one. They need to believe in your product and service, but they need to like and trust you. And that's what you're trying to do at these events. Maybe the first time, you just, hi, how are you doing? Just wanted to say hello and get to know each other. I know it's going to take a while. Let's call and we'll talk about it. Maybe we'll meet again. So that kind of attitude is probably going to win you a lot more friends. All right. Get business card. Well, anyway, let's move on a little bit. So obviously, I see this already today. I was kind of in my own little mind thinking about the presentation, so I wasn't around, greeting everybody. But be friendly and approachable. And so that can just be a smile, look at people in the eye. You're wearing, it could be that smile. I had this one guy introduce himself, and he said he was, hi, I'm Rob Lowe or something like that. And so, every time he saw, and he said, "Oh, that's not really my name." I kind of, And then when I got up, I said, "Hi, I'm Tim Allen." So, I used to get that all the time before I got gray hair. I must have, like every week. But there are certain little tricks that you can make yourself stand out. Say, "I remember that guy," and not everybody has that. Tony Robbins, 6 foot plus. You walk in the room and go, ooh. You'll remember him no matter what. Some of us don't kind of physically look that different. So I guess you could have windmills and butterflies, but anyway, you could try to stand out. And sometimes that's with personality. You can be really helpful to somebody. Hey, I just talked to somebody. You're in bookkeeping. I just talked to somebody who has, So you can kind of be helpful, and people really appreciate and remember that. It's all about them. So when you are networking, people really appreciate a lot more if you kind of make it about them. Here's a good Dale Carnegie. Anybody Dale Carnegie fans? All right, it goes back a long ways, but his principles are still pretty sound. He says you want to get a conversation started, you can do it by the Ford, Talk about family, occupation, recreation, and your dreams. Someday, these are kind of really good conversation starters. If we had more time, I would have us all do some 30-second motivational speech. We do sometimes have networking classes, and we'll kind of have these role-playing, and it's really effective. But everybody know what the elevator speech is? 30-second? What do they call an elevator speech? Yeah, you're in an elevator. You've got to say your pitch in 30 seconds before that hits the next floor, right? So believe me, I've talked to companies that have been in business 20 years, and it just takes me like a half an hour to figure out what they do. And then other people I know in 30 seconds. So figure out, and sometimes we can help you get to those 30 seconds, your essential points. And your pitch should be more like a conversation. I don't know, you should be kind of prepared to kind of say, well, this is what I do, this is what makes me outstanding. Sometimes it's like, hi, I'm Charlie Lowe. Oh my gosh, I just got back from this great trip and I'm just so glad to be here. I'm a small business coach. I'm over at the Paramount Chamber every Wednesday, but I work for this big center in Long Beach, and we have 12 consultants, and we help small businesses for free, and we help it with everything from legal to marketing to planning and all those kind of things. So glad to meet you. What's your name? And so you can, if you practice, you can get it down, and then it should be people. And see, I said, and you can have sometimes those probing questions like, "Hi, I was just on a trip." Well, they're probably going to say, "Well, where'd you go?" So you can kind of put out this really interesting stuff that makes them want to ask more questions to get to know more about you as well. So you can ask those kind of leading questions. And people are shy, just practice, maybe several versions, have several different stories. You might have a 30-second version and a 2-minute version, depending if they really want to know more, they'll keep asking you questions. interest, of course. Make sure well, if you care, if it's a pretty good match, make sure you get their business card too. And if you do offer to follow up and give them some information or be helpful, make sure you do it. What's that, California? We get this reputation for, hi, yeah, sure thing, I'll be right in touch. You never hear from them again, right? So if you, and I used to do business with Japan. And whenever everything you do with Japan is literal. So if you say, well, okay, I'll get back and I'll send you this. But if you don't send that, that's like a breach of contract. So make sure if you say you're going to do something, follow up on it. Maybe take the card, write a note on the back of it. By the way, I hate business cards you can't write on. Those glossy ones. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. Well, sometimes it's kind of hard to get out of a conversation. You got to figure out how to bow out gracefully. And sometimes I might just be, well, oh, I got a mingle. It's really been nice. I got your card. I'll get back to you. Or, oh, I see my buddy just got here. Well, I think I need a drink. But you learn how to do it gracefully if you can, right? But all of your networking is for nothing if you don't follow up. And I think I had another definition of marketing might be follow up. You're building a relationship over time. That's what networking it is. Your first time is just an excuse to kind of start building that relationship. So follow up, get their cards. Maybe if it's appropriate, give them back a call within 2 or 3 days. You don't want it to get too stale, because then if they remember you, they'll forget it after a few days probably. Always be helpful. This is what will probably get you the most brownie points. Is if they say, well, I was really wondering about about this kind of thing that you do. What does that cost, or what does that take? And it shouldn't just be a hard sell. It's just, well, here's some tips. I thought that would be helpful. If you ever want any more help, or if you ever want to buy, I'm always there for you, but I'm not putting any pressure on. So follow up is one thing. Follow through is if you volunteer to do something, make sure you do it. And then get a regular system. This is probably the best favor you can do to yourself ever, is make sure, like I know that in the chamber, they have their regular follow-up e-blast. We get regular updates, and so we're never out of touch, right? So get a database if you don't have one. If you need that, whatever your system. If you're old-fashioned, just get that business card book and write yourself some notes. Put yourself some notes on the counter when you regularly want to. But make sure you have a system. Especially, and you will have some contacts you think are much more important than others. So we have an A, B, and C. You're going to say, this is an A. We have to do some, my attitude is someday we will do business. I don't know if it's this year or next year, but we're going to do business. You're an A, and I'm going to make sure I do my very best with you. You're a B, hopefully do some business. You're a C, well, I'm just going to send you something every 3 months and we'll see what happens, right? So, and you can really do that with your plan. So have a follow-up strategy. Everybody have email blast software? You know what I'm talking about? MailChimp? Anybody? Who's using email blast software? Oh my gosh. Nobody else? But you know what? So you don't have to just go to Outlook and blast out a bunch of names, because you'll probably be blocked because it's spam. So Get Constant Contact is one of our favorites. They have a lot of templates, makes you look really beautiful, and send out people. What do we say? Be helpful 6 times, ask once. Think about that. So don't just e-blast people saying, hey, buy from us. We've got a sale. You can do that once in a while, but be helpful. Tips, suggestions. Here's a great event. Come to the chamber. Charlie Lowe's talking on marketing. So whatever, whatever it might be, have some, or create your own event. But be helpful, and then people will open your emails. What % of emails get opened? On an email blast, you're lucky if it's about 20%. But sometimes I see that I don't answer it, but, oh, thank you, Peggy, for sending that. I'm not going to open it because I think I know what it's about, but thank you for sending that. And then I go back there if I ever need it. So and then here's another one. Get a contact software. This is so valuable. Anybody using a contact management software? Well, I know the chamber, okay. Which one do you use?
ACT.
ACT. And I know the chamber uses ACT. You ever heard of ACT? There's ACT, there's Goldmine. I understand that there's even kind of inexpensive or freer versions. But you can track, you can go to a client and you can see all the activity that they've had. You can see the mailings, the phone calls, right? Phone calls, everything you've ever done. Birthdays, kids' names. And so, so valuable to get that contact management software. Sometimes it might be free, you can set up yourself. In the case of ACT, they even have consultants that'll come out and set you up, and they'll charge you, of course. Here's another cool idea. I have one educator, she owns a training center, and she says, I'm taking over the business, I've tried everything, and I just can't figure out what's my next step in getting clients. I've tried everything, I tried all our old stuff, it's not working. And I said, well, you got to find a mentor and talk down with state-of-the-art, somebody who's doing it really well and finding out how to do it, because and she says, well, all the trade shows, all the conferences, all the associations are so expensive, and they're not right. I've checked them all out. Form your own. You know some movers and shakers, and when you form your own little networking group, you can control who comes to it. I mean, you can invite those that you want to come to it, and no matter what, you are seen as a leader. When you put that together, you are the leader of that group, and so it's always gonna, you're gonna be seen as. But you got to come through. You got to have really good content and really good events, or they're just going to see it as kind of a, he tried, but it wasn't really a great idea. So make sure that it works. But this is a way you can really kind of control your own direction. Okay, so just kind of closing it out. Some do's and don'ts. So remember to always give back. Remember, it's about relationships. So. Don't always rush it. I mean, don't be afraid to close at some point. But remember, it's all about forming that relationship, making your service really valuable. And they're going to ask you. They'll finally feel so comfortable to say, "Will you come up, please do this for me?" Get active. Just do your work. It's like anything in business. You just got to put in the time and just be consistent. Follow up. Follow up. Follow up. Follow up. Don't burn out. Keep going. And I think you'll see amazing things. I think you'll all see amazing things if you just keep at it. So, thank you very much. I'm here for if any of you want to sit down and talk about this more. We're available free over at the Paramount Chamber on Wednesdays. Every Wednesday, you can just call a chamber and book it, or you can call me. Also, I've left some paperwork on your desk. We do have some workshops. I give you a workshop list. Make sure you kind of turn it over. There's one on web design. So we have classes on web and social media and planning and marketing, all those other kind of things. So, and once a month we give one of those at the chamber, and the rest are usually done over at Long Beach City College. So, any questions?
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.